Good evening, Cheeseheads, and welcome to the Friday Night Cheeseroom. I am clearly not the caller. I'm also not Shan. We're a bit short on host tonight, so I drew the short straw. Tonight we'll be taking a walk by the riverside and previewing the Delhi homecoming and ponder Roman's exit and the fallout of the Russian invasion of Ukraine on the Premier League. Joining me tonight to discuss this, it's Sexy HG and his funky bunch. How are you, sir?
My funky bunch. I'm all right. I don't know about the sexy part. I don't think anyone agrees with that, especially my wife. But no, I'm good. Another week done. Weekend to look forward to. Spring is almost here. I'm happy.
Do you want to explain what you did on Zoom and the reason I said that?
Oh, it was you. I figured it was you. There are still some restrictions in Austria. Although I say that, I think tomorrow they get stopped. So we've been having church. I go to church, and we've been having church on Zoom. And I changed the family Zoom account name to Sexy Jess. My wife's called Jess, and the Funky Bunch, which apparently was really embarrassing / funny. Although explaining it now, it doesn't feel either of those things. But
I thought it was funny.
Maybe it's embarrassing. But yeah, I think that's where it came from, right, John? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he might be a bit hungover because he was drinking martinis last night, all the way from Sydney. How are you, Davo?
Yeah, espresso martinis. A little bit tired this morning. I think the last time I was on, Alan Sugar was in charge, and we had an Amstrad satellite dish on the roof. So yeah, nice to be back.
Well, who was the owner of Spurs then? Was it Mr. Sugar? Was it? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, Sugar. Yeah. Loved him as well.
So we appreciate you being here. Super chat and stickers are live. Caller has added some new emojis in the. If you want to become a channel member as well, you can get a little Conte or a cane or a sun. I won't say that later on after I've had a few more drinks though, because that could go a little bit wrong. Get involved in the broadcast. Please put your comments in, and we'll flash those up. If you want to put a super chat in, obviously that gets priority, and we'll spend a little bit more time talking about it. But yeah, let's get on with the show. One last thing, Mr. Steve Diver did say he would be here this evening. He is currently on holiday in Vegas. Messaged me, said, yeah, I'll be there. Half an hour later, I'm going back to bed. So, I mean, he did share this with us a few hours ago. I did cut the other person out of the picture, but that's the state of him around midday our time today. So if he might pop in, we don't really know.
No, he sent a video, didn't he, of his hotel room / suite, which we're pretty certain is bigger than my apartment, and a whole, he's living the life, is our diver. So good luck to him out there, and do things that you don't want to tell your future partners about.
Absolutely right. Let me just put up the next bit a little bit. We're going to do football prizes. So this week's football prizes is a Harry Kane signed, custom and framed Spurs shirt. Tickets are £4.95. There are 99 tickets, and it ends on Tuesday evening at 7:30. And you can get 10% off by using the code POD10, which is in the banner. The bottom HG has kindly put up for me. They do loads of good prizes on there. It's always worth having a look. There's loads of other things. You can win like lottery tickets, cash, game consoles, stuff for other clubs if you've got any interest. But obviously most of you won't, because just get the Kane one. That's what I'd suggest. So what shall we get on with the pressingness of Tuesday night, shall we? So HG, you love a good lineup. Let's talk about the lineup. Was it what you expected?
Well, I like a good lineup. Was that a good lineup? Like, I mean, we were full strength, weren't we? Pretty much. Skip was out injured and Bentancur was out injured. So, but from what we had available, we went full throttle. Yeah, I mean, after winning 4-0 at Leeds, I guess it made sense. But I don't think any of us were too surprised, because we know he wants 3 at the back, and I feel like if we wanted to be a bit more aggressive and a bit more, forward thinking, we might switch to 4 at the back and play an extra attacker. But yeah, that didn't happen until it was much too late. But I don't think any of us were surprised by the 11 that were picked.
Yeah, absolutely. Your thoughts on the bench? Obviously, the bench looked rather weak. What did you think about that? Is there anything he could have done?
Well, no, but that's the squad that we left ourselves with. So it's like I do think Conte had a major part in that. But yeah, we had what, Bentancur, Lucas, Skip, Tanganga, right, with the 4 that weren't there. So yeah, with Lucas out, you only really had Bergwijn on the bench. Scarlett to me is a kid. It's not a real option. It's a kind of if you have no other choice, then okay. And we kind of have no other choice. But I'm not happy with the bench. But again, you hoped that it wouldn't necessarily be needed and that you could go out there and we should have done better. But no matter what game we have, if we have 2 or 3 injuries, that's the state of our bench, and that's because the people in charge, whether you consider that to be Levy or Conzi or Paratici or all of them or none of them or whatever, whoever is in charge decided that was okay for the last 4 months of the season, and it looks like it was a miscalculation.
Let's face it, it's not the first time, is it, we've done that sort of thing.
I'm saying,
Davo, would you have done anything differently? And I'm not talking about your choice of going out last night.
Well, would I have done anything differently is a very deep and philosophical question for 8:09 a.m. of a hangover on a Saturday morning. Look, as we talked about before, 4 out in January and 2 in. And I would have, Dele, Lo Celso and Tanguy, I wanted them all gone, but I'd have thought it would have been spread over 1 to 2 transfer windows. You just need some bodies at this time of the season. So I'd have kept GLC back. I don't rate him that much, but out of the 3, he's the least worst, which is a glowing endorsement. Our central midfield pairing is out of the 4 central midfielders that we've got, they're the worst 2. I think Bentancur and Skip would be my first choice. But that, as HC said, we're at cut football now. It's extra time penalties, so you need bodies, and this was our last chance of winning a trophy. So would I have done anything different? Well, yeah, I wouldn't have got rid of 4. I'd have probably got rid of 3. Hill was the whole surprising thing as well. So we are where we are, but very disappointing.
Do you think that there would have been any merit in blooding Harvey White or even Devine, who was on the bench? Dave?
Well, Conte doesn't seem like the coach who wants to do that at the moment. He doesn't seem, he's seen enough of them in training. That he just doesn't seem keen to do that. The reality is we played again. I think we had the first kickoff on the weekend against Leeds, didn't we? We played on a Tuesday night, and we're not playing until next Monday night. So, kind of in theory, given the increased levels of fitness they're supposed to have under Conte, starting the same 11, I didn't have a problem with it. I think Doherty and Sessegnon would be, they're good. They're good. They're the right wing backs to have, not Emerson. So this is what we've got at the moment. It's a thin squad, but we had a thin squad at the end of August, in my opinion.
What changes could we have made? Right, you might have put Bergwijn in ahead of someone.
Yeah,
right, probably Son. You might have brought Reguilon in, but we all kind of want to see what Sessegnon is going to do regularly. And then in the back 3, well, it does kind of pick itself. So you put Sanchez in or you put Rodon in over one of those 3, but you wouldn't want to switch 2 of them out. So, the options are pretty thin. Even if we wanted to rotate, I'm not sure there are too many things that we could do. So, I'm not massively surprised. It's just, yeah, as you said, John, we've been here before. We know this. Pochettino liked a small squad, but it wasn't as small as this. This is some bare bones. Pochettino at least had a backup striker. We haven't had that for 2.5 years. It's we are the masters of our own downfall.
But yeah, we've had about 3 managers tell us that Son can play there. Is that coming from above? Where's that come from?
What are you suggesting, John?
Wow.
Come from above? God has got involved?
But look, we got to the Champions League final. Kane got injured, I think, in the first leg of the quarters against Man City, and then we had Son up front, Son up top, and Mora interchanging. And had pace up top, and we got to a final.
Well, yeah, but we had Llorente as well as a sub option to play with them, and he could bring those players in. He was slower than a dinosaur, wasn't he? But he certainly could play. He had a good touch, and he could interchange with those guys.
Yeah, but we like the season that we came third in the 2-horse race with Leicester. We didn't have a backup striker, so Kane was the only striker.
We had Janssen.
No, we didn't. Janssen came the next season. Janssen and Sissoko came Sissoko and Janssen came in that window. What a lovely players that was, right?
Yeah.
So we had no backup striker, and then the Spurs website changed to NG and Son as strikers just after the deadline day, as if people could be fooled all the time. But we'll not go there, shall we now?
Yeah, okay. So, next of all, we need to discuss this, I'm afraid. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever put up, and that includes the picture of Steve Diver. Let's talk about this. HG, what went wrong here?
Well, I think Doherty did didn't he? He got it around the goalkeeper. I guess we were unfortunate the keeper didn't try and save it, because that would have been nice for us. I think, like, if you're looking, you might try and play it square for Son, right? Looking at if he just plays it between the it should be a tap-in for him. But I don't blame Doherty for thinking, first and foremost around the goal. And once he got around the goalkeeper, he looked like he didn't look like someone who was confident.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. There's like, I don't think a pass is really there. It doesn't look like great. He's got to front of the defender, probably.
Oh.
I mean, he might play it around him. But he's thinking, I want to shoot. He's not thinking, I'm just going to pass it around him so Son can have a tap in from 4 yards. So I personally, I wasn't massively upset, because I genuinely don't think the Son was really on at this point.
I think Mother HG is on. Shocked he was shocked he got around the goalkeeper. If you actually look at I watched it earlier, and his first touch was appalling. It almost took him backwards, and that was the problem, mainly for me. All right, let's. What was your view, Dave?
Well, my view was he should have passed it to Son, or he should have. He should have scored. Really, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, he got a good goal against Leeds, doing what he's meant to do. And obviously, if he'd have got that goal at the stage of the game, then it's a lot. The whole thing would have been completely different, because it'd been on Borough to attack us, and we could have got him on the counter, which is our preferred way of playing. But we had chances to win the game, and I think for him, we won't be seeing him in the Spurs shirt in August. I hope not.
I hope not, indeed. And
John, can you put the second picture up again?
Yeah, just while I'm doing that, I'll just comment. Obviously, Caller is in the chat. He's got a baby on one arm and his phone on the other. Ever the professional. Please hit that like button. It does help us get the pod out there. There you go, that one.
Yeah, so I think Gov made a comment here that the ball was bouncing pretty awkwardly, and you could tell he wasn't confident. But when you look at that, you want to try and keep it low. I think he was worried about someone maybe on the line or the defender getting in the way, that's why he tried to lift it. But if you look at that, you think, if you hit it low and hard, then the defender's not really going to get there. But again, from a still, you can't tell too much. And Guff is right there. But at the time, I would have been shocked if it had gone in, if I'm honest. Like, even as a professional footballer, there are some people you back in those situations, and Doherty wouldn't have been one for me. So I guess I was disappointed that it went over the top, but I wasn't surprised.
I mean, maybe the lead situation was that he didn't really have much time to think about it, because it was a breakaway, Sessegnon down the left, put it across, bang, first touch, in it goes. But this time he had to think about it. And for some players, Eric Lamela being another, if you've got time to think about it, it doesn't really happen. It's the first mention of Eric Lamela tonight, HG.
It wasn't me.
Do you think...
No, it's me. I mean,
Do you think there's an element of the Stuart Dallas chance on Saturday, where he took too long? Got into his head.
Yeah, a little bit. Absolutely. I mean, earlier, but I think he was further out and was worried that he'd look a fool by missing from that distance. But yeah, I think Doherty was only ever going to go for goal. Once he got around the goalkeeper, that seems the obvious thing. It takes a bit of composure to find a teammate, and I'm not sure Doherty really has it in those moments. But you can't. I don't blame him for taking the shot on. I don't think we'd all have been like, you should, if he passes it to Son, gets his shot blocked, you'd be like, oh, Doherty, that was your chance to put it in goal. So it's Spurs, but I'm not. I'd kind of forgotten about it, if I'm honest.
Okay. You're dropping out occasionally now and again, HG,
Okay.
just so you know. Davo, Sessegnon looked good. What were your thoughts on how he played?
I thought he played well. I mean, there was that bit in the first half where he did that run. You know, he got forward on some occasions and he did really well. And you know, his confidence is increasing. He just looks like someone who constantly needs an arm around his shoulder, and the confidence level's boosted. And you know, there is a time look. I think he needs to get a run of games, and I think he's starting to show a bit. And he's also got to remain injury free because he's had such a shocking record with injuries with us. But I thought he did all right actually, and to be honest, I was very surprised when he got taken off.
Yeah. Okay. Where am I going now? Next one. Oh, and Dave, this is just for you because you wrote this line by Lumley.
I missed that. I missed that top bit.
Absolutely fabulous. Saved by Lumley. Sorry.
What a great gag. What a great gag that is from the 1990s. Nothing's modern.
Not when you and me write it.
No, exactly. I thought it was quite a good goalie, actually. I mean, there's a few times he looked like he was bumbling into a mistake, but I thought he was quite solid after that. He made some good saves. I don't know too much about him, but I thought he had a good game. He made some good saves. And he certainly made a patsy out of our strikers.
Oh my gosh! I know two facts about Mr. Lumley. One, he's a Spurs fan.
Oh,
yeah, and two, he's also a Harlow boy.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, when I say Harlow boy, I think he was only born there. I don't think there's any real links.
Good knowledge, Phil Ambrose.
Oh yeah, previously at Spurs. Yeah,
I
think he left at like 15 or 16. It was pretty young.
Right.
But,
okay.
Yeah.
So just like Souness, he left Spurs to go to Middlesbrough. So Liverpool next for him then, and then he'll be grumpy about us. Yeah, I thought he started nervously, but grew in the game and grew more confident, and so we just couldn't be bothered to do very much. So all I remember is Kulusevski got in the box and had a shot blocked. Apart from that, we did pretty much nothing apart from knock the ball around.
And we got better once we made changes. Once Bergwijn came on and we went forward at the back. Like that's not to say that Sessegnon played terribly. I don't think he was amazing, but I think that we worked better as an attacking unit once we had an extra attacker on the pitch. Son could play further wide, which we know he likes to do. I mean, Son does not like getting the ball with his back to goal and then trying to find runners and all those patterns of play that we see from Conte teams. He doesn't like it. He doesn't excel at it. He doesn't really want to be doing it. And so by playing, I think Bergwijn was then the middle of the three with Kulusevski on the right and Son on the left, and it seemed to work a lot better. But we had a few chances. And I know there was one, I think it was a pass from Bergwijn that could have got to Kane, but it was a bit overhit. And I think both ways, actually. Kane had one to Bergwijn. So we were creating chances in the last 15, 20 minutes of the game and then in extra time. But that died pretty quickly. And I think once Middlesbrough scored, we never really looked like getting an equaliser.
I mean, early in the second half, Crooks had an absolute glorious chance from a corner, didn't he? And I think there was another corner as well. We seem to be conceding a lot of good chances from set pieces at the moment, which with three centre-backs is rather worrying, isn't it? Is this going to keep happening? Are Everton going to pummel us on with balls in the box on Monday, HG?
Well, Calvert-Lewin's fit. And he scored against us last year when we had more better options. Look, it's not great. I mean, Davies and Romero, they're not the biggest of central defenders, although Romero is taller than you think, right? Like I see the stats and he's I think 6'1", which granted he's not massive for a defender, but he's over 6 foot. But yeah, they don't have the physicality maybe required. But there are other, Kane is back there. There are other players that can do those things. Kulusevski is not small. So it's not a great idea, but Doherty's 6 foot. Sessegnon's pretty tall, though not a great header of the ball. We do need to get better, but I feel like a lot of the time, can you imagine, like if you're practicing free kicks, defending free kicks at Spurs, well, all you have to do is stand on the front post and you knock them all away, because the only people who can practice that. So like we probably don't have the practice. We need to employ someone who can take a decent corner kick and just have them at training, so our defenders get used to it. Because I mean, it's a bad joke, but it's kind of true. Like when would they actually face decent crosses if they're just training with Spurs players who frankly, are no good at it.
I mean,
Is
to
it
be
just
fair,
Harvey White?
I think to be fair, they have been better. Sons have been fairly decent. He does hit some awful ones, but certainly better than since Eriksen's time. We have improved. I mean, I know we joked about Lamella earlier, but he did take some good corners at times as well. That's where half his assists came from, I think. But yes,
When?
absolutely, Kerry. We can ban Shan from games. We tried. It didn't really work, did it? We told her not to go. Shan will do what Shan wants to do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Go on.
But
Sorry,
I
Dave.
think Shan is realizing that it's not fun for her to spend money and pay for all the travel and then watch Spurs lose. So Shan, if you do watch this at any point, stop going. Save yourself the money. You've got a wedding to pay for. Do us all a favour. It's a win-win-win situation.
And she's moving house as well.
Yeah. Stop going.
I've got at this point, I've got to big up the West Sussex Spurs guys. 4 of them travelled all the way from Bognor up to Middlesbrough on Tuesday, stayed overnight, came back on Wednesday. One of them is a fresher at the uni. He was in the bar Monday night when I was working. He was back in Wednesday night, drowning his sorrows. He also went to Burnley and to Leeds, so fair play.
Yeah, but he's a student. He doesn't do anything. So
he
gets more. He gets more holidays a year than HG. So,
you did nothing at uni, did you, Dave?
No, not much.
Right, so Dave, what's the most exciting thing? The feed going down and then heading back to one camera only for you.
I don't know if you had it over in the Northern Hemisphere, but the feed was absolutely not very good if we're keeping our PG rating tonight. It just kept going out, and then it comes back on, and it's just one camera at one angle that way, and then it just goes out again. I mean, I really enjoyed. I mean, in all seriousness, I enjoyed having Martin Tyler as the commentator. I think is he still doing Sky? I think he's a really good commentator in a calm, understated way. And for once, we didn't have a biased anti-Tottenham one. We had Clive Allen as the co-commentator, and Clive Allen's a rare thing in our history. He scored a goal in an FA Cup final that we were in. Don't know if anyone remembers that kind of concept. So yeah, I mean, look, I think after the subs were made, I think I said to another WhatsApp group, we're going to lose this 1-0, and there was such an air of inevitability about the whole thing, wasn't there? Especially if Shannon was up there.
First goal wins. Like, it feels like it's Spurs. If we concede first, we lose, and if we score first, we win. It does seem to be that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, talking of which, we did have a sort of a half chance, didn't we, in the second half where, Dyer had a free kick, didn't he, first of all? And then that led to a corner, which I don't know how easy this is going to be to see, led to this bit of a melee. As you can see there in the middle of the picture, Kane's shirt is halfway up his back.
Mm-hmm.
Should that have been a penalty, HG, before the offside?
I mean, this is from the goal, right?
This is from the goal, yeah.
I don't think it's a penalty, but I do think it's a goal. And if VAR had been involved, I don't think he's offside there. You know, they do the whole back foot, armpit, shoulder, whatever. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes to find out who's offside. But like again, it's one of those things where I think the assistant is on that far side, so he maybe can't see that the defender's behind Harry Kane, and that's why we have VAR. But of course, for some silly reason, the FA Cup has decided that had the game been at Spurs, VAR is involved, and that's probably a goal. Surely it's got to be the same rules for everyone. So like, I'm not going to get too upset about it because it's just old football. We're used to this. Spurs should have been like, right, well, no, but I mean, like we had disallowed goals in the past that should have been given. We've scored goals that shouldn't have been given, but Spurs still should have gone on and thought, right, we've got half an hour left. We should have gone on and won the game. The fact that we didn't is concerning because, as we said before, it was pretty much our best available side. It's not great.
Yeah, no.
I think it's unfortunate that we were basically without our best 2 midfielders. It's just you think you have 4, you got 2 cover for each position. It's just we've lost both of them at the same time. I think if we had Skip, it would have made a difference. Either Skip or Bentancur would have made us a little bit better. But
surely that just means that our cover isn't really cover. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, I agree. I personally would be happy for Winks and Højbjerg to leave in the summer. I know that would upset Shan and Holly, but I think they both need to move on personally.
Well, they cover in the sense that they're human beings who can play in that position, of which we don't have. We don't have human beings in some other positions to play. But out of 4, they're the worst.
Dave, I'd question they can play there.
Well, no, I mean, okay, they can put their kit on, go out there and stand in the position. But I honestly reckon we could screw United at 50 million for Højbjerg because they're desperate for a central midfielder, so he can go, and then Winks can go to Valencia because he's of Spanish heritage, and I've just made a lazy link there.
Surely United is just going to go and raid Germany and Austria if Rangnick's going to.
Can we stop talking about raiding countries? I don't like that.
No.
Okay.
No.
Going to acquire players from those countries.
There's enough raiding of countries at the moment.
Yeah, all right. Okay, we'll come back to that later, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, Bergwijn came on and literally within about a minute had a chance in the box. Dave, what was your view on that? Should he go on with his left foot?
Oh, she's just. I mean, he's just done a Leicester. Come on, score the goal. We're all laughing, but he should have scored. But it was a good interception in the end. But that's what he's meant to do. Come on. I think he should have come on. I mean, when did he come on in the game? It's all a blur now. To
Like
be honest.
80 minutes?
82nd minute, I think.
Yeah.
Him and Emerson came on. We changed to 4-4-2.
I thought the subs were poor. He should have changed things earlier, and I wouldn't have taken off Sessegnon. I thought he was having a good game. So I just thought, go on.
So I think the question is if you want to go forward at the back, who's the better left back? Is it Davies or Sessegnon? And I can understand why he thinks it's Davies because Sessegnon can't defend. He just can't.
No, I can't.
I mean, to be fair, Middlesbrough's goal showed how weak that left side was. So Davies wasn't great in that either. But Davies was playing the line, and Emerson wasn't. So like, it's a weird one. But I think if I'm playing a back four, I want Davies over Sessegnon every time.
And who did he bring Reggie on for later? Was that my imagination?
Kulusevski?
Yeah, Kulusevski. Yeah. But that's the thing. We only used, was it 3 subs? Oh no, 4 subs because Scarlett came on, and he could use 6.
Yeah, but we didn't have the. What are you going to do? We could have had Rodon on as a centre forward, and it might have helped. I mean, it's got to that point.
In all honesty, our 2 midfielders weren't passing forward. They weren't taking chances. Like Danny Murphy was our co-commentator, and he said they haven't got a risk taker in midfield. Anytime there was a chance to play the ball, Højbjerg and Winks didn't scared to play the pass. So ultimately, couldn't have done any worse than trying the 17-year-old or the 20-year-old on the bench because they've got that lack of fear of youth, haven't they? Almost said. We looked at the guy from Wolves. I can't remember his name now. He played central midfield. He had a great game against us, didn't he?
Neves.
There are young players can come in sometimes have an immediate impact. Then you take them out again. But ultimately, the 2 that are in there had stinkers. So surely we didn't take them out because they were terrible.
And Harvey White's never going to play this season. He really isn't. Because if Bentancur's back for this weekend, which apparently he is, so now he may not even be on the bench. And it's like I get it, right? Like no one thinks, you know what, Harvey White, go and make your Spurs debut or your full debut or whatever it would be at Middlesbrough on a Tuesday night in a cup tie. It's not anyone's idea of the perfect place to start. I can understand why they went Højbjerg Winks, but we're talking about the 2 of them aren't enough. You need to have something extra. And if the wingbacks can't provide anything extra, then you're left with long balls from Dyer, which, to be fair, is probably a better move anyway, because Son could then start wide where he wants to be, and you play the balls over the top. I feel like if Son can't keep the ball, why would you pass it to him? There are lots of things that are wrong with what we had, but I can understand why he went with it because it's a big game and it's a trophy that we all want to win, and so you want to have bigger players. And as much as White might be a better player than Winks, Conte likes Winks. He said it many times. So I'm surprised that he went with Harry.
I'm not sure I believe anything Conte says at the moment, the way he keeps changing his mind in his press conferences. Do you think, Dave, he possibly could have tried moving maybe Kulusevski into central midfield where I've forgotten his name, Howson, 33 years old, was brilliant. He ran that game, didn't he? And he had Tavernier on one side. I can't remember who the other guy was.
Crooks,
of course, yeah. I mean, they just dominated because there was 3 against 2. But Howson kept running. That man must be so fit. And he's been around for a long time, but he's never been in an elite Premier League game. And fair play to him. He was. I'd take him on that performance over the 2 that started for us. But could he have moved it to maybe to a to a 5-3-2 and brought Son in a bit more?
Well, I'd like to see a 3-5-2, but with the Bentancur and Skip, and then Kulusevski in front of them, playing behind the front two in a number 10 role. I think that's better. I'd like to see that, because I think Kulusevski, he can finish, and I think he's got a passing range. So I would prefer to see that. I've got to be honest. I want to call it out. I thought Son had a dreadful game. I thought he was awful. I'm sorry. He missed an absolute sitter, the header, right? Mm-hmm. Which probably was even worse than the Doherty miss. We've spent 5 minutes on Doherty, so let's be fair here in a way. I thought Son had a dreadful game. I really did. And, the question is, has he peaked? I mean, I know we beat Leeds 4-0 away, and to be honest, I thought that was a real dead cat bounce. Leeds are shocking. That was Bielsa's last game, right? But Son, he just it's interesting. He signed that contract in the summer, which I think we were all amazed by. But was there any offer on the table for him from anyone else? I mean, I'd have thought maybe Barcelona would have come in for him about 2 years ago when they're, churning through their strikers and all that kind of stuff. But there's never really been a concrete offer for him. So we love him, and we love what he brings to the club and all the smiles and stuff like that, which are, genuine. And having a fight with Lloris shows he cares. But has he peaked?
Yes, I think he's peaked.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, because his peak was really, really good. I mean, he may be on a bad run of form, but do I expect to see Son get any better than what we've seen? No. So therefore, he's peaked. But I don't think Son suits the 3-4-3. I don't think he likes to do what he's being asked to do. Kulusevski is much better at holding the ball up.
Can I answer this? He's still drunk from last night. That's all it is.
Probably. But yeah, Kulusevski is better than Lucas at holding the ball up, so he suits the system more, because you need your wide players to be able to do that. And I think Bergwijn suits that system better than Son does. But Son, when he scores, frankly, so when he's good he scores, and when he doesn't score, he's anonymous, and he was frankly anonymous for most of it. So it's frustrating, because Kane and Son, we know together, work really well, but it doesn't really bring the best out of things. Like we were a lot more potent when Bergwijn came on. Was that just because we played the extra attacker? Because it made Son happier and Bergwijn was there to help him out? There are lots of questions right now. Like, could we be okay if we just played four at the back and went with Dyer and Romero as the centre backs, and then you could have Davies or Reggie at left back, and Sessegnon, if he wanted to play, could play further forward. You could have maybe more options, but we know that Conte likes three at the back. He's never really going to change it. But when you look at what we have, it might work better for us if we do go four at the back. It's just crazy, because we don't have the midfielders. No matter what we try and do, we don't really have midfielders to do it. We're hoping that whichever two we have fit are good enough as a pair, and in many cases they're not.
It's interesting you say that, because I think you've argued and I've argued as well all season, even under Nuno, that we should have three at the back. I mean, we've got 6 centre halves on the book at the moment, and I use the word centre halves loosely with some of them. And I think, but I think that suit. Romero has better with a back three. I think that's what he did at Atlanta last season. Dyer, his shortcomings are camouflaged by having 2 centre backs next to him, and it's Davis's best position now. So I think that works. But for the rest of it, we don't. The wing backs, I'd only really keep Sessegnon out the 4 of them really. And then we just need guile in the midfield. We don't have the guile. Bentancur provides it a little bit, but we're really lacking that, as we saw with those two. And Son, I think the thing with Son, and I think to a certain extent the thing with Ali, is they've never really had competition for places. Really, they kind of played every game without fail. And I know Dele stopped playing 3 years ago, but for his form nosedive for at least a year and a half. Dele's before he finally got dropped, but they never really had competition for places, and that unfortunately is the paucity of the squad that we've had for a few years now.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like we all said when Nuno took over, we all said three at the back, and when
Yeah.
Conte took over, we all said three at the back because it strengthens your defense and it strengthens your midfield. Weirdly, too. If you went 3-5-2, you could have Kane and Son up top, and that would be fine. The issue right now is we've got lots of central defenders, but we don't have really any midfield. So no matter what we play, the midfield is going to struggle. So then you basically say, right, well, if our midfield is going to struggle, do we give up a bit more of our defensive strength to try and be better going forward? Because we can't get the ball to our forwards with the midfield being so bad. So it's almost like, do you want to go full Aussie Ardiles and say, right, we're going to play all of our attacking players and hope that we outscore teams? Because right now, yeah, like if we don't score, we're hopeless, and we will lose a lot of games 1-0 because if we can't get our attackers going. So you notice with Conte that when we do struggle, he does automatically switch to a 4. When we were 2-0 down to Wolves, Sessegnon went off and we switched to a back 4. So he obviously thinks that there's something to it. Like that's the default mode of like, oh, we're losing, I'll go 4 at the back. Maybe if you think that's the best way to score goals, do that at the start of games. I'm not saying our midfield is good enough, but you want to outscore your opponents, and maybe we could decide that we've got more chance of winning 3-2 than we do of winning 1-0. I don't know, but it's because of what we did in January. It does feel as if like what's the best 11 we can get out? If the best 11 involves putting Son wide, then you've got to go 4. Maybe it's 4-2-3-1, and then Son can play wide because he doesn't suit the 3-4-3 in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the problem with 3-4-3, it relies so heavily on the wing backs, and the wing backs we have don't suit the system, the Conte system. So I think you're right. We're going to both the right side need to be moved on. It'll be hard to get rid of Emerson, given he's only been with us a year. We're not going to get much money for him, so it'll be a loan. But also, it really, we need a creative midfielder. Somebody needs to play alongside Bentancur. One of them needs to be box to box, and one of them needs to be the sitter. Now we know Bentancur's nice and neat and tidy, but the two we have, Højbjerg and Winks, just they had good games at Leeds, like you say, but that's because Leeds was so open. On the prep for the show, I was looking at the Everton results. They smashed Leeds, but they've lost all the rest of their games apart from Boreham Wood. They scored 3 against Leeds and only 2 against Boreham Wood. So what's that?
I think as if Fabrizio Romano was right when he was on our show, he said 3-5-2 is Conte's thing. He wants 3-5-2. He prefers 3-5-2. Like personally, if you're going to say that, you could make the claim that Kane, Son, Bergwijn, and Kulusevski could be your 4 options for the 2 up top, and I think that's doable, bearable, right? But yeah, you're right. You need to have those midfielders. If you're going to say that Bentancur is the one who sits or Winks is the one who sits, but you need a third one to go inside there, someone who's a bit more creative, then great, we do that. But you've got to go and buy it. My issue now is the system that we're playing with the people that we have available doesn't work. Like I understand we don't have many players. I understand that we want to play 3 at the back and we've got lots of fit defenders, but at some point it's the balance of the team that you need to be thinking about. And now that Bentancur's back, we may see more options in midfield. But when you only have Højbjerg and Winks, it might be a better ploy to say, right, we'll play more attackers, we'll push the ball in their half and try and keep it there. And if they can get out, then okay, they'll get some joy against Højbjerg and Winks. But they got joy against us if we tried to sit back and defend. So you may as well get caught out in their half of the pitch rather than our half of the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's talk about the goal. Dave, what went wrong?
Emerson Royale.
Okay, explain.
Well, I don't know what he was doing on the goal. I mean, it was. Isn't there a graphic that shows about 5 or 6 players standing around having a cup of tea whilst they go in and score the goal? I mean, I'm in a footballing depression with you guys this morning. I another year and we're at the FA Cup, and I'm going to rant here because you get to May and we're not in it again, and I think to myself, it's footballing depression here. Another year, I'm getting older by 1 more year. Another season's over, and we still haven't won a bloody trophy. So what went wrong? 5 defenders standing around not doing anything. There's some real issues at that club. Anyway, I'll stop ranting.
Okay, I'm just looking for Mother HG's comment. Oh, it seems to have disappeared. But we've got 99 people watching, and there's only 42 likes. Come on, guys, please hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything. Just got to click the little thumbs up. Ooh, but my hand's disappearing. It just helps us out, really. Get the pod out there. We're trying to grow it, trying to get more content, get more people on, like Fabrizio Romano, and then more hosts. You might not have to see me, HG, and Dave hung over in the morning. We might even get Steve Diver out of his bed in the hotel in Las Vegas. You never know.
Or Mr. Tumble might make an appearance.
Or Mr. Tumble one day might make an appearance. Right, where are we on the run sheet? So I'm not going to mention no trophy 15 years because you've already done that, Dave. So HG, is there a cultural issue at the club when it comes to winning?
When it comes to winning, well, yeah. I mean, if you defy that thing, then yes. People talk about leaders. We haven't got enough of those. We talk about winners. Well, okay, we've signed a few now because Juventus players would have won stuff. But yeah, we're not buying winners of competitions in the major leagues. Like we didn't do that with Levy. When Levy built the team that was really good. I mean, we're talking about Ericsson and Vertonghen and all the rest of it. Yeah, they'd won stuff, but in Holland, right? Which maybe isn't that that difficult a thing, especially right now when Ajax have, I think, lost one game all season. It's a bit of a two-team league there. It's almost like Scotland. But it's I don't know. Like, yes, but what do you do? How do you attract winners to a team that never wins? Like at some point, like Conte is that person, right? So Conte will know the type of player he wants, the type of player that wins things, because he was it as a player and he's seen it as a coach. But how do you get them to join Spurs if they have, frankly, better options? It may well have to be someone who's coming in for a last payday to almost do the Edgar Davids thing for a couple of years. We may well need a couple of those. We probably do. But there are so many things that we need. I said this last summer. Nothing's really changed. Well, there are still lots of things that we can and should be doing. But yeah, like culturally, I mean, yes, you'd have to look at Spurs of the last 30 years and say yes to that.
Go on, Dave.
I think, look, to me, I've been thinking about this. When was the last time that we showed up in an important game? And you would probably say second half Ajax away. We needed 3 goals. Apparently, Kane did a speech at halftime. Whatever, but that we scored 3 goals in the Amsterdam Arena and got through the Champions League. That's the last time that we showed up when the chips were down. And since then, I think we can all say each game where we might have a bit of momentum or this is an important game or things like that, and we just don't show up. Okay, and then I'm going to be a boring old fart here. I was thinking about in 1981 FA Cup semi-final, we were 2-1 up. 2 minutes to go, our first final in years. We're all waving the flags at Hillsborough. And then we lost a penalty. We got cheated by Kenny Hibbert, who dived. And then we were in the extra time and we were in a daze at having it taken away from us. But we dug in. We had people like Paul Miller, Tony Galvin, Graham Roberts, Stevie Perriman, right? Most of that team hadn't won a trophy either. But they dug in. And I was thinking about this lot that we got here. We'd have probably lost 4-1. There just seems to be a real issue. And I think that, Kane has had his worst season for us in years. You compare his performance in the season versus, other performances this season. To me, the Kane performance, it was a great performance, but it was a shop window performance, to be honest with you. And it just seems, and HG, you're right. It's like you get someone in like an Edgar Davids, who was just, I'm sure he is a nice person, but on the pitch, not a very nice person, a winner. And shows them the way to do this, because we just got too many. Whoever's left in that team has had too many semi-finals and final defeats where they haven't shown up. So I just think we just needs a whole cultural change, and I don't think we'll ever do it.
Okay, I think this. Go
on, sorry, John. Yeah, I
was going to say this is a really good point. Middlesbrough have drawn Chelsea, so thank goodness we haven't got to lose it. What, for a 6th time, 5th time? I can't remember. 500th time.
5th,
because
let's face it, we're not going to beat them, are we? If we had them, so hopefully Middlesbrough can do them on penalties.
Yeah, that would make us feel better, would it? That Middlesbrough, who get one shot at Chelsea, beat them. One shot at Man United, they beat them. One shot at Spurs, they beat them. And we've played United, Chelsea, and Borough and lost every single game.
Yeah.
So Wonderful.
Yeah. Right. What's next? Abramovich. Should we have a quick chat about him? Apparently selling the club. So, HG.
Go on.
Chelsea apparently owe Mr. Abramovich 1.5 billion in directors' loans, which he's going to write off. Where does that stand with FFP?
I don't really know the FFP rules that well.
Okay, Dave, any ideas?
I think it just shows that FFP is a load of old PG expletive. It's just nonsense. Which top team has been excluded from the Champions League because of FFP? You know, you've got no one. And why is that? Because it's not good for the sponsorship. It's not good for broadcasting for the top teams to be in there. So it's a load of old nonsense. And the person who's the person who founded FFP, Platini, and what happened to him? He got done for corruption. So there we go, right? It's just a load of old nonsense. So Abramovich, 1.5 billion loans. But, you know, a lot of our programme notes from year after year, the chairman ends the season message is about worrying about FFP. Just saying. But we're not going there tonight. And, you know, Abramovich it's an interesting one for Abramovich because I think we're all of a certain age. We were used to looking at the continent and Italy and Spain and looking at managers being replaced like every 3 or 4 months where the results don't go well for 5 games. And Abramovich has brought that into English football. Like the churn of those managers, you know, I don't know what the churn of managers is compared to our churn of managers versus the churn of Aussie prime ministers as well. We could look at that, right? But the fact of the matter is they've still won how many trophies in however many years. And they've just churned through players. You know, I take my hat off to them because I think they've got a good, however they do it, they've got a good youth recruitment system, their loan system. I mean, I don't know how many players they've got out on loan. I mean, you look at someone like Conor Gallagher. I mean, and then they've made, obviously, mistakes with, you know, Declan Rice has gone out. You know, he's done it in such a way that he's got success, they've bought success, but they've actually built up the infrastructure over time. The interesting thing with Abramovich selling is that, you know, the one issue for a buyer is what he's going to do about the stadium because there's a stadium build that needs to be financed there. So it's football infrastructure. He's got a great coach. Marina, whatever her name is very well respected. I don't know if she's going to stay on as well. And they've got a good infrastructure there and their youth recruitment. Their only challenge is the stadium. Whereas maybe if one of those people who want to buy Chelsea just look over a bit North London way and see a lovely, shiny new stadium that's hosting Guns N' Roses in July, maybe they want to buy us. Just saying.
What's the situation? Because Abramovich doesn't own the pitch, does he? Isn't it owned by the Chelsea fans? There's some sort of weird thing there.
Is that in the 80s when they go on?
No, yeah, there's some sort of thing where the Chelsea fans own the pitch, so anything he wanted to do, they had to approve. It was all some sort of complicated deal. I don't know if anyone can.
Well, yeah, that would have been very difficult for them to approve. I mean, they're all looking his own. Oh, fine, I'm not going to go there.
We'll move on anyway.
Yeah.
Is it owned by the Chelsea pensioners or is it the Chelsea Flower Show? I can't work it
out. Right. Oh, where am I? Where are we going? Did you see Tuchel's press conference, HG?
I saw that he got upset that he was being asked about Abramovich and the war and all the rest of it, which I guess I can understand because, I mean, yeah, he might have opinions on it, but it's not exactly. He's not going to come out and say, "Yeah, I wish my boss did this, that, and the other." He's in an awkward position, which he's being paid to sit there and do that, but. Yeah, look, I don't know. When you think about the questions that journalists ask to football managers, they're usually ridiculous ones. And so I don't blame him for being a bit annoyed that, I'm here to talk about a football match, not about a war. If you want to talk about war, then, go and talk to Boris and anyone else who has more of a say. But, it's a strange one because, when you work for Chelsea, everyone's known what Chelsea was. Everyone's known what PSG is and what Newcastle will be. I mean, everybody has known this. So to try and say, well, no, we're just a football club. No, clearly that's not true anymore, and it's not true about lots of clubs. Not even the ones that we know of being a bit dodgy. Most of the clubs are not really football clubs anymore. There are various other things involved.
Right, Davo, what's been Abramovich's contribution to English football? Do you think?
His contribution to English football is probably he's helped with the Premier League brand around the world by bringing in players outside of the UK. I mean, he brought in Shevchenko, which I know didn't work out. Ballack, he's brought in some top tier players, and helped build the brand up. The youth system, whether there's been any kind of they got into trouble for it, didn't they? But he's helped with that as well, and that's what he's done. But I think at the end of the day, it's the example. I think he's probably wasn't he the first billionaire owner example of coming in and just splashing the money, which was segue for others. I think when did they buy it? 03, didn't they? So they came in 2 years after ENIC. So his contribution is he's helped produce players who've played for England. He's increased the brand, and he's made the Chelsea fans happy, which is not a good outcome for anyone, is it now?
No, and ruined many a day for us, unfortunately.
That was before he turned up. We were still crap against them.
We were crap.
You can question the money, and I think everyone does and should, right? But Dave makes the point that like Chelsea as a football club have been transformed, yes, by that money, but what they've done with it has been, extremely smart. I mean, they've wasted money left, right, and centre, but the academy that they have, where they send 20, 25 players out on loan each year, and we can think about players in the Premier League right now, like Broja is another one at Southampton, Gallagher, Dave mentioned. Like the Chelsea have got a bunch of players that are playing Championship level football or Premier League football, and they won't all play for Chelsea. I mean, the guy went to Palace. What was his name? Is it Guehi? Did a year or two at Swansea, and then they sold him to Palace with the kind of buyback clause. And then, Chelsea's youth system is almost so good that people like Lamptey and Livramento are basically forcing their way out because they know they're good enough for the Premier League, but Chelsea don't have the spaces to give them the minutes that they want. So Lamptey goes to Brighton and Livramento goes to Southampton, and I'm sure Southampton will try and get Broja if they can. I mean, it's almost like the one team that Spurs would not want to have a terrible relationship with is the team that unfortunately could probably do us a lot of favors. But that I guess that's football. We have to learn from what they did. Maybe obviously not how they did it, right? Because no one agrees with how they've done the things they've done. But you look at Leipzig and you look at Salzburg and you look at those clubs around that have actually built something that seems to function pretty well. That has to be. You'd think Levy would look at that and think, okay, that would work for us too.
Yeah, I was just looking for you. Mother HG did confirm. Here we go. Yeah, I've got it here. Chelsea's famous ground is owned by a non-profit organisation, Chelsea Pitch Owners PLC. So I wasn't talking complete rubbish. This one here, I think half right. I don't think he went to the wrong ground, but I did hear Abramovich did inquire about buying Spurs, and I've heard a couple of different variations, but one was that there was Sugar had some sort of percentage sell-on clause, so there's no way ENIC would even consider selling.
No, Sugar may still have had a stake in the club at the time.
Right, yeah.
So that when did he buy it? 03, wasn't it?
Yeah, 03.
So ENIC bought it in 2000, and I don't know when ENIC took it off, delisted it. So we were a publicly listed company.
It was good 5 years, wasn't it?
I think so, and I think Sugar still had a stake in it in the club and shares, so he'd have got some more money out of it.
Yeah.
On top of the Amstrad dishes, he made all money out of. Nothing to say there. But I think the Abramovich looked at it. I thought it was because of the stadium and the potential to increase the stadium at the time, which is ironic because he had the stadium issue now at Chelsea. So, if Abramovich had bought it, we'd all be sitting here with a truckload of trophies and we'd all be smiling and laughing. There may be no Cheeseroom. There'd be nothing to moan about. What would we do?
Chelsea fans still moan about everything. I guess it's all relative about levels, isn't it? Right. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I've got a quick plug about Patreon. You can join our Patreon group for just £3 a month. The link is in the scrolling banner below there. You get to join our nice little chat group on an app called Slack. We've got so many different chats. We've got live game chat. We've got general chat. We've got a cricket chat. And of which point, I'd just like to interject and say the three of us, we've been chatting. We're very, very sad to hear the sad news that absolute cricketing legend Shane Warne passed away today, aged just 52. The guy was amazing. I got to see him play for Hampshire at Portsmouth back in 2000. I don't remember much about it because I was on a free hospitality day, which was enjoyable. But if any of you have never watched cricket, I would just suggest to you Google Warne, Warne, to Gatting, which is batting with a G, Gatting, and just watch on YouTube the very first ball of Test cricket he bowled in England for Australia. It is astonishing. It's beyond physics. But this guy, was it 708 wickets or something he took?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Is he the second highest wicket taker? I can't remember. He's certainly the highest leg spin.
There's certainly a few above, or one above him, maybe a couple.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But ridiculous player. So sad he's gone at the age of 52. He was still commentating for Sky and in Australia. I think I heard him a couple of weeks ago commentating. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Dave, any thoughts on Shane?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously having lived down here for many years and having to endure many England Ashes performance down here. I mean, I would say that I was physically present at the MCG when he got his 700th wicket, but I was at the bar at the time when he got Strauss out, and I was there for the last Test match he played at the SCG when they completed the whitewash. Him and Glenn McGrath. You always, as an England fan, you hated them, but actually he had a great cricketing brain. He should have been the Australian cricket captain and not Ponting, but due to off the field issues, he wasn't done that. And you saw that in the role that he did at Hampshire and in the IPL as well. In Australia, I would say, and we have got of the Aussie cheeseheads here. Cricket is the national sport. You got NRL, AFL, stuff like that. There's more state biases there. But cricket is the national game, is a national icon. And it's very sad also in the same 24 hours that a legendary wicketkeeper called Rodney Marsh sadly passed away as well. So very sad news. I'd finally just say, if you haven't seen it already, there's Warney did a doco on Amazon Prime very recently about his life, and I heartily recommend you watch that. It's a really good watch.
Hey, Stu?
I think that the thing with Warne, and it happens maybe more often to Australians than anything else, but he's just a bloke in the pub who happened to be really good at something, right? Like you look at every other sport and you get these kind of, robots, the kind of Tom Brady-esque, who just, everything is, like the finest detail is taken care of because he wants to get everything. And that was not Shane Warne, right? Shane Warne was the bloke who was just incredibly good at spinning a ball and knew exactly what to do and when to do it and how to do it. And the fact that he was almost a joker, and sometimes he appeared a bit of a joke, but you couldn't really take him seriously. Yet when he was on it, there were no better ones. And that Australian team that we all know was really, really good. The one that obviously played against England in 2005, and that was to the end of when they were really good. Yeah. But still, McGrath is a legend. Warne is a legend. There were so many people in that team that were fantastic, but Warne was the guy who, you could sit next to on the tube and have a chat with. You never, he was the one who opened himself up to ridicule in some respects, but also just as a person, he was who he was. And I think deep down, everyone loves that. When you see someone who doesn't really, as I said, he was who he was, and 52 is no age. It's a massive shock to anyone like us who are approaching that age, or certainly remember him at his best. It's just a bad day. It's just a bad day.
For all those things, they're not even his greatest achievements. He was in a fairly long-term relationship with, I've forgotten her name now.
Liz Hurley.
Fair play. Just for that.
So 700 odd Test wickets.
Yeah, nothing. Liz Hurley.
You're remembering for Liz Hurley. That says more about you than.
Wow. Anyway.
We can discuss that another time. Moving on.
Quickly back to the Patreon. Yeah, we've got those chats. We've got the fancy football. Dave, how you doing that now? Are you
still top? Still top. But Aviva's hot on my heels. And I just imagine Aviva's got her spreadsheets and her algorithms all good to go in the States. So I'm worried about that. She's hired Cambridge Analytica, and I'm worried. And then, you've got, who else? Marcus, who works for who does he work for again, Marcus? The
Hawkeye.
Yeah, he works for Hawkeye, so he's got inside knowledge. Then there's you, John. I'm worried. I'm going to do a Tottenham. I'm going to blow it.
I think I've already in the prediction league. I've already doing Tottenham. I'm sinking in that prediction league. It's not going very well, but there's prizes for that at the end of the season that Seb sorted out. So let's move on to Everton. So we play Everton Monday night. I think it's 8:00 on Sky Sports. The return of Dele Ali to Tottenham Hotspur. Unlike Spurs, Everton are still in the FA Cup with that very unconvincing 2-0 win over Boreham Wood last night under new manager Frank Lampard, who loves us so much, obviously. Team news, as HG has already mentioned, Bentancur is back. So in a minute, I'm going to get a celebratory gin, just to enjoy that. HG, how do you feel about Lucas being back?
Well, he won't start. I know that much. So if it strengthens the bench, then great. That's the best place for him. But Kulusevski's got that spot down now. I don't see much really changing. He'll probably play every game if he stays fit. So I'm happy that we have an extra option, but that's about all it is. I don't expect much from him. I never have.
So what's the starting lineup going to be, Dave? And I'm just going to mute myself while I get my gin.
Bentancur for Winks or Højbjerg, toss a coin. I think Bentancur for Winks. I reckon he'll bring back Reggie. And right wing back, I reckon we just put some traffic bollards down the right-hand side of the pitch and just giant arrow, diversion side. This way, please. There's not, it's like Emerson Royale versus Matt Doherty. It's like being asked if you want to go to the musicals, We Will Rock You or Mamma Mia. What a choice that is. So on the right-hand side, I don't know, who would you put? Eric Dyer started at right back, didn't he? Just for a laugh, stick him there. I don't know.
You could stick Lucas there.
Yes.
You could stick Lucas there.
You've never said that, HG.
Never
said that before.
Lucas right. I like it. Lucas right wing back. Bergwijn left wing back inverted. We're going to hit them with more pace than they know what to do with. Here we go.
So, Everton team news. Unfortunately, as HG has also mentioned, Calvert-Lewin is fit. So, a commiseratory gin at this point. Because we are going to get bombarded in that box, aren't we? But I did a little bit of research, and I've got the formations for the last 5 Everton games. And I don't know if this is a case of Lampard doesn't know the best team or if he's just trying to adapt to the opposition. So this was the Newcastle game when they played 3-4-2-1. I think Alan's in the comments tonight. So if Alan, and so I've seen Stephen in there as well. They are Newcastle and Everton fans. If you want to comment and if I've got this wrong. Reguilon as right wing back and Sessignon as left wing back. We did that against Morecambe. It was horrendous. I think a bit of a tongue in cheek from Adrian there. And then the Leeds game, they went 4-4-2. Can you remove the comment, HG?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Or whoever.
I'm sorry. No, I'm so
One
sorry.
of you. There we go. So they went 4-4-2 against Leeds, where they won 3-0. But obviously, we know that's because Leeds were terrible. Then they went 4-4-2 against Southampton, pretty much matching Southampton because they obviously played 4-4-2 and they got smashed. But we know Southampton are playing well at the moment. Man City, where I think we should talk about that in a minute. They went for the 4-2-3-1. I thought Allen and Decore were really good in that game. Allen is just going to smash Winks or Højbjerg, whichever one plays. And Decore is a bit of a beast. Did you discuss the handball on Monday, HG?
Handball from...
The handball, the penalty that Everton should have had.
Maybe a little bit. I don't really remember.
So, I mean, have you seen it, Dave?
The handball?
Yeah.
Nah, I got middle-aged brain fog.
Okay. So, Dele played a lovely through ball through to Richarlison, who went through on the left-hand side of the box, and he tried to poke it past Ederson, and it flew up in the air. And as it bounced, it span a little bit. And for some reason, Rodri had his arm out and it hit him slam on the arm. VAR decided it wasn't a penalty. Then there was a whole debate, was Richarlison offside? But I don't think he was. And subsequently, Frank Lampard has said that Mike Riley has been on the phone and apologised that it should have been a penalty. It was a complete shambles, but basically VAR at its worst. And it's not VAR the problem, it's the managing and the people doing it for me. You watch cricket, you watch rugby, it can be managed so much better, but for some reason we do what we want. I have $200. Well, that's the thing. It's all set up for Dele to come on as a score, and Dele will have a worldie, won't he? He's not going to have a stinker against us.
Well, like he won't start. I don't think.
No.
I mean, you go through the formations, but it'd be Allen and Doucouré almost certainly, Calvert-Lewin, and probably Richarlison. Right, Everton may well be getting close to whatever their best team is. If Frank's figured that out, I don't know. But I did notice in all those formations you showed, they haven't got a left back. I know.
Well, it's the Ukrainian guy, isn't it? Because
he wasn't there in any of those things you showed.
Hold on, I think he might have been on last night. Here we go.
Yeah, no, he definitely he was captain. He was
captain
for the cup game.
Played left wing back last night.
But that cup team looks like squad players apart from the central midfielders, pretty much.
And Gordon,
I don't think Gordon will start. He's played a few games, but I think that if he's got a chance to play Calvert-Lewin with maybe Richarlison one side and Demarai Gray the other, he might do that. He might just go Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison as a front two, and then have someone like Van der Beek in midfield. I mean, he's got more options than we do.
I have a feeling he will go 3-5-2, knowing he can outman us in midfield. I'm just going to ask Paul Muir here, but can he play? Yes, he can, because it's not a loan, Paul. Everton had already had 2 Premier League players on loan, so that's why we had this bizarre deal where they couldn't afford to pay for him up front. So after he's played 20 games, I think they paid 10 million, and there's add-ons up to 40 or 45 or something. So yes, he can play against us.
Yeah, he's gone. It's not alone.
The only way around it is if the club did some sort of deal saying he can't play against us.
And if he marries Pep's daughter, we get another 5 million, and he has to have the ceremony on the pitch. It's an add-on.
It's in the Sky Bar.
Yeah.
They're going to bungee down.
Yeah, N-Dubs are playing the reception. It's going to be cool. I think John's organising the whole Ents, aren't he?
Oh no, I've given up with that now. Given up with Ents and all that lot. What's Android today?
It's Andros. It's supposed to be Andros.
Andros, right? Okay, that makes more sense. Isn't that right? Yes, I was just going to mention this. So let me get my notes up. So the club today have tweeted and put a post up. Have you seen this?
No,
I've been asleep.
Let me find it. So the club tweeted this at about 5:30. The club will be conveying a message of peace ahead of the kickoff on Monday's home match against Everton. Young people from Haringey Vox will perform One Day, a song expressing hope that one day our world will stop fighting and embrace kindness and freedom. So
Not one day we'll win a trophy. Sorry.
One day Ramos will win a trophy.
One day Ramos, that's where I win.
Yeah.
One day Ramos will sing One Day.
So what they're asking to do is they're kindly asking fans that are attending the match to ensure they are in their seats no later than 15 minutes before kickoff to show the support for the choir and be part of this poignant moment. So I think it's a very nice touch from the club.
And
I'm sure
he would rather we bought a pint, wouldn't he? Come on now, really, he would prefer that.
Well, I
hope you're not making anti-Levy comments, HG. That's my department.
I think given the option, he'd probably prefer that. But no, look, it's clearly the right thing to do, or to do something, I suppose. But I probably won't be watching. I'll watch the game, but not that part.
I know. So that's that bit. Let me come out of this for a minute. So I've no idea.
Ask a quick question. Sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's say Kane is sold in the summer. Would you get Calvert-Lewin in, if you pronounce his name right? Calvert-Lewin.
The answer to that would be, does he fit Conte's style? Because I don't really know the answer to that.
HG?
Right?
Look, if we sell Kane, which we won't, but if we sell Kane, Calvert-Lewin is one of the options, I suppose. It wouldn't be the first option for me, but he's obviously not a bad striker. He scored goals when he's been injured most of the season, but he still scored a number. But no, I'd like it, because Kane's so good, you need Calvert-Lewin plus another one to even come close to replicating what Kane does. And I just don't see Spurs selling. I really don't.
Well, we need another striker anyway. Full stop. Mm-hmm. And if we sell Kane, obviously we need 2 strikers because my maths is very good this morning. But it's like a chain. It'll be a chain of events. If Kane goes in the summer, then sure as eggs, Conte will be gone.
Yeah, but that's why it won't happen. I mean, you're basically giving me my own case here, Dave. Like,
But well, look, let's not go there. I brought it up. Calvert-Lewin, Bamford, move on.
oh,
One day with
what?
Bamford.
No,
When
Bamford, definitely not. Are you kidding?
he's been injured
No.
most of the season.
Yeah, so it'd be perfect replacement for Kane then, who hasn't been injured, even though you said he would be.
Now you've said it. Now you've done it. Everton, 5 minutes in. Maybe he trips over the microphone that one day Ramos was singing into. I don't know. You set off a chain of events, HG. Well done.
Yeah, as opposed to falling over, taking a free kick, he injures his ankle, kicking off.
We did skate over the free kick, didn't we? I mean, is there anybody in the world? Why is Conte letting him take free kicks? Surely could. I mean, we saw Dyer took a decent one. Surely Kulusevski could take one.
Yeah, but Kulusevski isn't Kane. I mean,
Oh.
that's it. Like, this is Kane's club, right? I mean, Kane basically has all the power. Kane is going to say, I'm just annoyed he doesn't try and do something different. Like, just whack it low and hope it hits someone on the shin, rather than just aim it at the wall or whatever he does. I don't know. But yeah, to fall over while taking it was a new low.
For all the reasons to hate.
There's a kids' crash at the stadium where like the partners drop their kids off for the start of the game. Kane's kids got their own separate slide, which they can only allow to use. It's his club.
Do they miss all the time?
Yeah, they slip under the side and they never turn up to finals. Anyway, moving on.
Can't remember where I was now. We'll come back to that in a minute. So we've talked about the team. We've got no idea what Everton are going to do because Lampard seems to change each game. Richarlison, dangerous player. What do you think, HG?
Does he score against us? I get the impression that he does quite often.
He does,
yeah. Richarlison, I've never really rated him. He seems to be one of those guys who runs around a lot and 1 game in 10 looks incredible. But actually, if he's not playing Spurs, he's, I don't see it. So he'll probably have a blinder now because that's.
Do you remember the Son Lloris game in Project Restart where they had the big Barney? Yeah. For some reason, we just started kicking him it was a bit like he was a Dharma Traore. They had 5 or 6 players just going at him every time. It was like, that was the one Mourinho had pointed out, go and kick him. And it was a very strange one. I've not seen other teams do that.
Probably because they think he might respond. Because I think he might, is kind of like he is the type of guy that would take exception to things, or give it back even worse and get himself sent off at some other point. But I don't know. I don't want him playing because I think he's one of their better players. But I don't massively rate him. He's good, but he's not great.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any players you're worried about from Everton, Dave?
Calvert-Lewin. Is Townsend fit?
Yes, he is. He played last night.
Okay, so he could get the old return to Tottenham and get a goal. I mean, I'm worried. I mean, look, Lampard. I'm worried about Lampard's motivation because he hates us and we hate him, and he'll be so up for it. He will be so up for it, So I'm worried about that. And Van der Beek, the bloke from Dawson's Creek. I mean, he looks quite a good player. So he might get. Some people in this chat tonight were doing 1970s sitcom references. I haven't gone back that far yet. All right.
Okay.
So I like Van der Beek. I mean, we'd never got him off Man United, but we'd have offered a little bit different, a bit of guile and stuff like that. So he could be a problem. He could be playing threaded through balls and creativity, something that we have. So I'm worried about him. You showed that one team. You showed that 5,000 team sheets for Everton. Yeah, and you had Berkovic in goal, but was that the cup team? Because
that was the cup game. Yeah.
Jordan Pickford. Pickford from This Is England. He'll be playing. So, I've now done references there. Am I worried? I think we'll win because, as you know, the pattern is lose one, win one. So we're up to that now. The algorithm from Cambridge Analytica suggests we will win.
And I'm not aware that Shan is going. Caller is going.
Yeah, Caller's going. I don't think Shan is.
So on that note, we're not doing a show Monday because Caller's going to the game. So we're going to do it Tuesday, apparently. We were talking about doing a post-game show, but we're going to be on Tuesday. So mark that in your phone calendars.
That's right. I mean, the thing is, if we did a show on Monday, no one should be watching it anyway. They should be watching Spurs.
Well, I think we were going to do it after the game, HG.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But that's
we'll
too
go
late.
Tuesday.
That'll be late, won't it?
Well, here we go. Paul Muir's given us a little bit of info. 17 games, 4 goals, 3 assists. Should have had a penalty against Man City. So a hat-trick is incoming from Dr. Tottenham, no doubt.
Have you got any cooler comment that we can just bring up for a minute? Any quickly.
Cooler?
Just find one. I just want to show. I want to look at. Can we just talk about the picture for a minute?
Oh, there he is. There we go.
You got it.
There you go.
Can you see the fear in Ledley's eyes there? You know, please leave me alone. It's like the cable guy, right?
Oh.
It's just, please leave me alone. Yeah.
So appropriately, hashtag ban Shan. There you go.
But look at the fear in Ledley's eyes. Leave him alone, caller. He's a club legend.
See it.
It's stalking him. Leave him alone. Moving on.
Oh yes, sorry, I missed. I will be there. There you go. Missed that.
That's right. Caller is going, which probably means that Shan isn't because she usually has his seat. So if Caller's going,
so we'll win.
Shan's got we'll win.
That's true. Yeah, there is that. So we've got 130 people watching, only 60 likes. Come on, guys, please, let's get to 100. Maybe Dave will sing us an Oasis song or something. Or even
so we've got 130 people watching, 60 likes. That means 70 people don't like us. It's that personal. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, that's just you, Dave.
That's more than that. That's a nightmare. Waves of Sydney don't like me. Moving on.
So predictions. What we saying, Dave?
Cambridge Analytica, we lost the last game. We'll win this one 2-1.
HG?
A 2-1 home win? Who would ever predict a 2-1
that is your
home
go-to.
win?
That's not beating you because he asked me first. So come on, find another score.
Oh man. If we I guess if we've got better options midfield, I'll go a draw. 2-2. Neither side can really defend. 2-2.
I did put 2-1 in the Patreon prediction league earlier, but I'll go 3-2 to Spurs, I think. Due for a draw, that's true. Any more comments? Put your comments in.
4-0 win, 3-1 I see. 4 clean sheets, says Paul, all season. Well, one of those was against us.
So a 1-0 victory for Everton, just like last season then, coming in.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, a similar goal as well, because I mean, it wasn't from a corner. Was it from a corner? But...
No, it wasn't. It was a free. I think it was an open play, a free kick for the mate.
Yeah.
Yes. Hopefully, Caller will leave. If we're 2-1 down, Caller can leave in the 91st minute, and Bergwijn can come on and score twice.
Would be lovely.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Caller leave at 75 minutes, no matter what is happening.
Here you go. 41 goals conceded.
That's not much worse than us, is it?
And by Tuesday, 41 goals conceded, no doubt. Who says Tottenham fans are cynical?
Oh, man. We've basically got, 3 months of transfer rumours now for before anything happens, because games will be coming not so fast anymore. And, the shows will be...
Do we have to do transfer rumours?
Can we just talk about this? Can we just discuss Caller's attempts earlier? Caller's attempts earlier to pronounce this name. He kept sending us WhatsApp messages. Go ahead, actually. Give us the correct pronunciation.
What I think it is.
Yeah.
Right? You want both names or just the surname?
Well, it's Josko, isn't it? I'm guessing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fine. All right. Well, yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah. It's like Gvardiol. I mean, it basically is what you see. I mean,
Gvardiol. Okay.
I mean, it's not Spanish, but it should be. I mean, it's basically flipping Josep Guardiola. I mean, it's weird.
He should go to Man City, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he's the oldest looking 19-year-old in world football. I mean, really, he's super young. He was actually a Zagreb player when they knocked us out, but he didn't play because he was injured. And then I think the move had already been arranged to go to Leipzig, and so he's only been there half a season.
Right.
So I'd be surprised if he moves in the summer. I know the question was, is he coming? I don't think Guardiola will go to Spurs. So I think Leipzig seem to be doing well. They're in the semi-finals of the German Cup. They might win that because Bayern are out and Dortmund are out. So
what position is he? Tell me about him. What's position?
He's a left-sided centre back. He's basically Vertonghen. He's a Croatian Vertonghen, so he can play left back, but he's more a left-sided centre back, and he seems pretty good. But I don't think he'll be going to Spurs this summer. I think he'll do another season in Germany and then maybe have different options.
There you go.
You know, I was
Your
thinking about
Spurs
Vertonghen
formation.
the other day, and I reckon that he wouldn't be a bad shout for him to be the manager of Tottenham within the next 5 or so years.
What the Ollie Solskjaer rule?
Yeah,
Well,
because if Levy's still in charge in 5 years' time, just let me ponder on that thought for a moment. If Levy's still in charge in 5 years' time, he does like get the old player back sentimentality appointment to blindside us fans for a few months. You know, he did it with Hoddle, Ryan Mason, and Vertonghen seems like it comes across as a pretty intelligent bloke. I miss the Belgians, to be honest with you. I did love them; they were great. Anyway, move on. I'm depressed still.
I was going to say, I mean, obviously he went for Mourinho, who was a busted flush, to quote Caller. Conte's the next one. I mean, what we can do, wait for Pep or Klopp to be out of a job before we replace the club again.
Yeah, but you know, you say Jose was a busted flush. He still won the UEFA Cup and the League Cup with United. What would we give him for that?
Well, they were lucky in that League Cup final because Southampton had a perfectly good goal ruled out for offside when he was onside.
Yeah, but anyway, he still won 2 trophies.
Yeah,
there you go.
He had a good squad though. To be fair, at that point,
He had a lot of crap centre halves, didn't he?
But he wanted to buy Toby and Dyer.
I wish should have got the money.
Well, no, we'd have spent it. We'd have respent it wisely. No,
there you go. Caller's called it 3-1. Dele will score the consolation. I mean, I don't think any Spurs fan would begrudge that.
If we're winning 3-1, I don't mind him scoring. But otherwise, I don't want him to score.
If it's 1-0 up or an equaliser, really,
absolutely. What sort of reception do you think he's going to get at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Dave?
Other than the wedding reception, for Pep's daughter, I think he'll get a great reception. I mean, look at Danny Rose and Sissoko got great receptions.
Yeah,
and he didn't leave under a cloud or anything like that. So I think he'll get a great reception.
Yeah,
I mean, we're used to seeing him warm up on the touchline, so there's no difference there.
HG? Oh, HG, you with us?
I've got nothing against Dele. I wouldn't have sold him. I still like the guy. So I've got nothing against it. But like a lot of Spurs fans obviously wanted him gone. But I don't think they wanted him gone enough to then boo him when he comes back. So So I think that people will be happy to see him, but will be happier if they lose.
I think we should have sold him. I mean, he's not performed. So I mean, Look, from a sentimental point of view, obviously he's done great things for us. He helped us win our first game at Stamford Bridge since Maggie Thatcher was Prime Minister and all that. But his time was up.
Yeah, and I always thought it was a system thing. I think the same with Son. He's crap in a 3-4-3 because it doesn't suit what he's good at. I think playing defensive football for the last 2 years of his time at Spurs and struggling when Pochettino kind of again like that last full season under Pochettino, we were rubbish for the final 6 months in the league. I just think that played a massive part. If Everton can get him playing where he's best, which is towards the with a striker, if he gets some kind of combination with Calvert-Lewin or with Richarlison or with whoever, then they'll get a chance. But they've got so many attacking options, Everton. It's kind of ridiculous that they have Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison and Dele and Demirai Gray and Gordon and
Townsend.
Like flipping Salomon Roldan and flipping Cenk Tosun and Townsend. Like there are so many, and we've got 4.5 maybe. If we're lucky. That is, and Van der Beek could play further forward if you wanted him to. They have so many options. He's just got to figure out what works best. Which playing Spurs is usually a good option to figure that out.
Tottenham are here. Okay, let's move on. Just a quick one. So apparently it's been reported China are set to pull TV coverage of the Premier League this weekend to show support for Ukraine at matches. Is that right?
That's what I read, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused. Why would they pull it? What's that going to do?
Because I guess they don't want Chinese people to see Westerners being nice.
Right, okay.
I don't
because they're
know.
supporting Russia, right, okay.
Because they're getting their tanks ready to invade Taiwan. Who knows? We don't do politics here.
Yeah, bizarre. Anyway, so would that affect Premier League financially, do you think? Or would they still contracted to get the income anyway?
I suspect if they've paid, then they've paid.
Yeah.
Whether they then choose to show it or not shouldn't matter. But
But
I don't know.
Isn't the global provider beIN Sports? Does Premier League own beIN Sports, or they've got a deal with beIN Sports, and then beIN Sports do the distribution deals? So I think that's the way it works. So
Right, okay.
But yeah,
China
Gordon
don't
makes a
want to
good
show
point.
it.
Yeah,
China don't like protest. China don't like protest. He's from the West Country, and they don't like protest that way.
So we're going to move on. On this day, some little challenges for you, gents. On this day, 4th of March, 1997, Tottenham played away against Sunderland. Final score: Sunderland 0, Spurs 4. Can you name the goal scorers?
1997.
Yeah,
So Jerry Francis was the manager.
correct.
We were really awful that season.
Yep.
We went out to United in the Cup in January, and that was it.
Yep.
So 1997 obviously was the last decent year music was ever made, just to be clear. And so March 97, Oasis hadn't released Be Here Now yet. I'm trying to think. So who was playing? Sheringham?
No, he was at United. He'd already gone.
No. He
Hadn't
hadn't
he?
gone. He'd gone August
He'd gone to United by then.
March 97?
Oh, no, he went in 97,
No.
summer 97. You're right. You're correct, Dave.
Sheringham walked around that day as good. He walked around that season at the back of Euro 96. So we had Howes and Nielsen in the midfield. Right. So I am going Sheringham. Anderson didn't play because it wasn't a major tournament knocking around. Everson hat-trick. What?
It was Stefan Everson's first. I think he scored 2 goals on Boxing Day, and then these were his next goals. He scored a hat-trick.
Oh, yeah, he signed for us. Did he sign? Yeah, he just signed for us.
Yeah, well done, Stuart Such. Good call.
Stuart Such, good knowledge, but you don't know Oasis back catalogue as well.
And I'll tell you now, the 4th goal was Alan Nielsen.
Yes.
Well, it's because they were closer to home. That's why they were good.
So what you're saying is we should have got some Norwegians or Swedes. Oh, we did. Kulusevski should have scored at Middlesbrough.
Well,
anyway, and then 10 years later, do you know what happened 10 years later?
March 2007.
4th of March 2007, Tottenham Hotspur.
Oh yes, I do know. Of course
away,
I do know.
4-3 at West Ham.
Yes.
Can you remember? We all remember the famous last goal. Can you remember the 4 scorers?
Berbatov
for Spurs. Scored the 3rd.
Berbatov. I think
scored the 3rd.
Didn't Tainio score?
Tainio got one.
He got the equaliser 2-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first was Defoe.
I think it was Defoe penalty, wasn't it? And the last one, obviously,
that was a Lasagna Gate revenge game. That was, and at that point, we thought we'd sent them down, but no, Tevez kept them up.
Tevez and his illegal transfer or whatever it was, and they had to pay Sheffield United a big payoff.
Who was the other one? Mascherano or something?
Mascherano. Yeah, he went to Liverpool, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so last one. This is on this day tomorrow because it's appropriate. 2017, so 5 years ago tomorrow, Spurs 3, Everton 2. This is the game, if you remember, Poch got very excited when we went 3-1 up. Mm-hmm. And then they got a goal back in the 92nd minute and he went, I really shouldn't have celebrated.
Yeah.
So my challenge to you, and I'm just about to see, can you name that Spurs team starting lineup?
Well, that's when we were really good.
So you can work as a pair here. So Hugo is correct, yes.
So were we at Wembley then?
No, it's last season at White Hart Lane.
Last season? Oh, that's easy then. Hugo, HD, you're next.
Walker?
Correct.
Davis?
Correct.
Yeah,
well done.
Good.
That was a tricky one.
HG?
Vertonghen?
Yes, Jan Vertonghen is there.
Toby?
Yes, that is your back 5.
All right.
So midfield?
No, I'll go with Kane now.
Oh God! Almighty.
Okay, Kane is there.
always the contrarian. Okay,
I'll bring it up. For the ones that I know are true. Thanks.
Yeah, but I thought we'd go through the formation. All right, then. Right, we've done the defence. So Victor Wanyama.
Correct.
HG.
Dele.
Yes. Scored our 3rd goal.
From Winks.
From a Winks pass, yes. I was just going to say, a nice little chipped free kick, wasn't it? Yeah.
Ericsson.
Yeah. I think you've got 1 to go.
Really? And just one? No, with Wanyama and who was in midfield?
Think about it.
The goat.
What? Yeah, probably
goat.
Dembele.
It was
Yeah.
Dembele, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the team. And then the subs were Winks, Sissoko, and Vincent Janssen.
I guess we didn't. Did we say Son?
Son's not there. He must have been injured.
No, well, so this is it because we had. I mean, that's a 4-2-3-1. So you're looking at Eriksen, Dele, Kane, and who?
Eriksen, Kane, Dele.
If it's not Son, who
Oh,
was it?
sorry. I'll tell you, you've missed Eric Dyer.
Yeah, we had 3 at the back. There you go.
And was he midfield?
I think Eric Lamela was on the treatment table for a change.
Well, yeah.
So
can we? I can't believe I'm the one who's going to bring this up. Today is Eric Lamela's birthday.
I'm just doing birthdays.
I can't believe you didn't do that first.
Oh, I'm doing it now.
Oh man.
So okay, right. Hold on. So today is Eric Lamela's birthday, and where's the picture I've got of him? Let me just find it.
Please be in the hospital bed.
There you go. There's Eric Lamela.
Hey. Still not speaking English. Very good.
Right. So I'm just going to get you some stats on Eric Lamela. So he is 30 today. I did see someone posting on Twitter earlier saying that Lamela had played 30 games a season, all but 2 of his seasons. But then I looked at his minutes, and his average is about the equivalent, if you add it up by minutes, divided by 90, is about 17 games a season. So,
I love the fact that if someone was to tune in right now,
let's get rid of that.
All right.
So the next birthday, let's drag this up, was the 3rd, which was yesterday, 1972, Mr. Darren Anderson.
Darren, sick note.
Well, you say that, but I think that was mainly down to Spurs' poor quality medical staff, wasn't it? I think there's a long story about that.
Spurs had poor quality medical staff.
Poor quality anything.
Surely not. Are you saying it wasn't investment in important infrastructure at the time by Alan Sugar?
Yeah, and the last one, which was the 2nd, so 2 days, so Wednesday, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is Mr. Alderweireld.
Yep.
So my little challenge for you chaps, is Anderton, Lamela, Alderweireld. Put them in order of games. Who played the most to the least out of those 3?
Right. Premier League.
Total games, League and Cup.
Well, Anderton's first, surely.
He is, yes. Because he's only just been overtaken by Hugo, hasn't he?
Yeah. 299 Premier League games for Anderton.
It's got to be
Toby was with us for 6 seasons.
Yeah.
And Lamela was with us when Toby was injured for basically 1. And Lamela
he wasn't picked,
with us,
was he? He wasn't picked for a season.
Well, he did his hamstring as well. You know, I mean, like he did his hamstring in the Real Madrid game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But Lamela was with us for half of my fucking life. And
there's our PG rating.
Yeah, I don't care. He deserves it. Yeah. I suspect Lamela probably played more games, but it was 5 minutes at the end of the stuff. So I suspect Lamela's probably next, and Toby's last.
It's very close.
I reckon it's Anderton, Toby, Lamela.
It is actually Anderton, 358 games. Lamela, 257. Though, as I just said, that's probably, if you average him a minute, he's probably played a quarter of what Alderweireld played. And Alderweireld, 243. Who scored more goals then, Anderton or Lamela?
Anderton.
Have a guess. So 358 games, how many goals did he score?
How many?
Yeah.
How many hernia operations did he have? I mean, I've had 2. I think he's had more than me.
I've had 1.
Oh, there we go. HD, have you had a hernia operation?
Yes, actually. When I was a little boy.
Anyone else put in your comments, have you had an hernia operation? Mine's from lifting beer kegs, so that's my excuse.
Mine's from coughing violently in Spain.
Oh.
Mine's just from coughing violently. I don't know if I was in Spain. I don't think so, because I was a little boy.
I never took you to Spain as a little boy, HD, to be clear. Just to be clear.
That sounds very wrong. Let's move on.
It was meant to sound very wrong.
So, what did we decide with Anderson? How many goals?
Let's say
Competition between you here. Who's closest?
All right. You said 358 games.
Yes. You go first, HG.
All right, 60.
Okay, Dave?
52.
The answer is 48.
Oh.
Eric Lamela, 257 games. Dave, how many goals?
Well, that's from Lamella Mind, and I can't remember. I'm going to go 37.
HG?
Gosh, was it that many? No, 36.
37. Spot on.
And then HG's going to go, but half of them were going to shoot opposition. Like
Well, it's true. They were.
I'm doing your subtitles for you before you even speak.
And Toby, 243 games. How many goals, Dave?
He got one against the Goons, and that's all that matters, isn't it? Because we're Tottenham.
Are we including own goals? Because he's got a few of those.
I don't think so. No.
He got one against.
There was one at Villa, and there was one at
City.
Liverpool.
He got one against Villa, West Ham. Because his first goal against
City.
Oh yeah, I remember that in the 4-1.
Yeah. Lamella's best game for Tottenham.
What I liked was I've got this picture of Lamella against West Ham, and this picture of Toby against West Ham. I enjoyed that.
I'm gonna go 12.
HG?
I don't think it was that many.
Well, we go 10? Less than 12 then.
Yeah, I'll go less than 12.
It was 9.
Yeah.
So there you go. And the last birthday, born in 88, 214 games, 21 goals, Fanny Walden. Be careful when you Google that. 1888. 1888 played 214 games between 1913 and 1924. Was an outside right and was just 5'2", which is I think the same size as Shan.
So
I would be a giant.
What year did he play for us?
Between 13 and 24.
Well, he won a trophy.
He did win the FA. Yeah, would have won the FA Cup. Yeah.
Something a lot of our current squad won't do. Moving on.
Well, they might do, but just not as Spurs.
Yeah, exactly.
they'll leave and win. Like Brian Hill's going to win the
Copa
del Rey.
Del Rey this year, isn't it? Now, I did see a tweet earlier. Apparently, loads of Valencia fans were chanting "Stay Brian." Apparently, they love him out there. So we either get a good bit of money for him or we bring him back. Depending.
It's amazing what happens when you play him. Crazy, huh?
On the left wing, in his position.
On the left wing. That's the trouble. He's not going to play left winger.
He's not playing as an inverted right wing back against Southampton with 10 minutes to go or something.
Yeah. Absolutely did my head in that we did that. So we got any comments to go through? Should we have a look at comments?
Do you want to do Poch again?
Hey,
here we go. Alan Brazil, this one.
Oh my gosh.
Poch wants to come back. Now, to be fair, I remember a few years ago, Alan Brazil, I think he'd had dinner with one of his, because he had lunch with a lot of the ex-Spurs players. He's very pally with a lot of them. And he said, about 5 or 6 years ago, he said, I've got some news that's going to knock your socks off, but I can't tell you. And then just nothing ever happened. So a pinch of salt, I think. I think Poch would probably like to come back at some point in the future. Doesn't mean he wants to come back now, though.
Didn't he do a thing? Wasn't he was presenting on Talk Sport and he announced that the actor John Morse had died, and he said it's really sad news. It's just sad news. Sad to hear John Morse because he died. So I don't know why he said that.
Who is John Morse?
Who's John Morse? Do you mean John Thorpe?
No, John Thorpe.
He was Morse. Right.
Look at HG with a smug little grin on his face as he retires to his Vienna boudoir. Mrs. HG, I've proved him wrong once more. Happy days.
I didn't even have to do anything.
No, I'm just going to hold my hands up if I've got this wrong, if it was Villa.
Yeah, it was Villa, because it's Danny Drinkwater in the background.
Oh, was it? Okay.
So Poch is coming back, is he, after Conte leaves?
No,
well, that goes back to my question. Who would replace Conte? What options would there be unless Klopp gets sacked from Liverpool or somewhere like that?
No,
realistically, is there another German manager somewhere? Because they're all coming here, aren't they?
The next one.
All right, Dad's Army, they're all coming here, aren't they?
Who do you think?
Who's our next manager going to be?
Talking of which, we have a group on the Patreon group that is next manager chat as well. So yeah,
is that being used?
It's
Not at the
covered
moment.
in, it's
Not,
covered
no,
in
no.
webs.
It's covered in webs currently, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our next manager is going to be Neil Warnock
Colin.
because Levy wants to rediscover our DNA, and we're going to get Neil Warnock in. That's who we're going to get.
Kerry's giving some praise there, Dave.
Thank you,
Killing your
Kerry.
impressions.
Yes, I'm a man of limited talents.
Talking about in Brazil, I see Paul Moncas.
Yeah, that was it. I think. I thought he did it as well, John Thor. Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
did it as well.
Bob Monkhouse would have found that funny, I have to say.
I've seen Alan Brazil play for Tottenham. He had a good half season, got us into the UEFA.
He scored 9 goals, didn't he, in 30 odd games? He scored against Arsenal in the 5-0 win, so that's that's
and
always
then
good.
the next season, Berkshire at QPR wanted him to come on, and he refused to go on.
See, he's not on the show tonight, but he just cannot stay away, can he? The caller wants Potter. It's a fair point.
I'll take Potter, but he won't come. He won't come to
won't
Tottenham.
come.
Why would he come?
And that's the question. Everyone talks. All the managers I've seen, like what was that? Sorry, I mean, Tuchel's there, but Ten Hag's not coming to Spurs.
No,
Like Potter's not coming to Spurs. Not where we are.
no.
So,
and they don't
no.
want to work for the current owners. Sorry.
Steve
79.
Cook, the Bournemouth centre-back. Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah,
Oh, no, do you mean the guy at Forest?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. No, to be fair, he looks weird, but he's doing a great job.
Isn't Steve Cook at Forest too? Actually, now
Oh, might be.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I forget. I forget the bloke's name. But he was the England guy, and then he was at Swansea, and he almost got them promoted. And now he's at Forest, and he's doing really well.
He's turned them round from Houghton, hasn't he? Massively.
Yeah, and he's. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
It's a big thing, though. Are you going to point? I mean, Poch was a bit of a gamble,
Uh-huh.
but until he is in the Premier League, I can't see Levy taking someone from the Championship to take over the club.
No, it'll be some kind of up and coming.
Cooper. There we go, Steve Cooper.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Steve
Paul.
Cooper.
Yeah.
No, like if you to ask me, like the German football right now, obviously like Nagelsmann's at Bayern, he's not going anywhere. Rose are at Dortmund, they're like the big two teams. Outside of that, they've got a bunch of Pochettino clones, frankly. Leverkusen has got some guy who's in Swiss football until this season. But if you look at the German league right now, I think probably the Mainz manager, who's called Bo Svensson, I think he's Danish.
Good
maybe
name.
Danish or Swedish. He is probably the next in line to. I mean, because Klopp was at Mainz and Tuchel was at Mainz, so they do tend to go for managers of a similar ilk. And Bo Svensson came in and they were second bottom and struggling last season, and you had them finishing like 10th. And this season they're safe in mid-table, and the way that German league is right now, you win 3 games, you end up being top 6. So he would be the I guess the future hipster's choice if we can't get Potter and Ten Hag and all the ones that maybe the fans would prefer. But
I think Poch will go to United, won't he?
I think
A lot of
if you were
talk
given
about
the choice out of Spurs and United, I mean, Potter would pick United, Ten Hag would pick United.
Yeah.
Pochettino, the only reason to pick Spurs is the fact that we had him before, but yeah, you might pick United. I don't know.
Yeah, but history's full of people who've gone back and it's never been the same.
Yeah, like Noel and Liam.
Like what? Like Noel and Liam?
Yeah.
They're not getting back together.
They're not getting back together. They hate each other, don't they?
Which is good because it would never be the same, Dave. Give up the dream.
Every night I kiss my Oasis picture before I go to sleep. Please reform Noel and Liam so I can see you once more.
Paul's suggested Bruno Lage.
He's obviously done really
I think
well.
he needs to have a couple of seasons, doesn't he? To probably
He needs to like peak at Wolves and then tail off really badly, and then we get him.
What, switch to a 4-4 at the back in his last season? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then refuse to play 3 ever again.
Yeah.
Toxic Headshot wants Poch back.
I can't believe we're
We need
discussing this because we've got Conte in charge. How crazy is that?
I think, but the trouble is, he's had a few wobbles. By all accounts, I haven't listened to his press conference from Tuesday, but he was quite balanced compared to the previous ones. So quite calm.
So he's given up.
Yeah, maybe. I think.
But he's still he's still in a hotel, and he's got a year left on his contract. So really,
Well,
by the
plus an add-on, yeah. But you're right. In the summer, they need to sort that contract out.
but
They need
who's
to
when
decide.
okay? So are you saying there's an option for one more year on his contract?
Yes.
And is that
From us.
mutual? So
From
we
us.
exercise the 1 year.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's what we do with all the players as well, isn't it?
It was 18 months plus one.
So we did that with Lamella, 1 year and exercise the next 8.
We did it with Toby, didn't we? And we've done it with Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Forever.
Forever. Yeah, he's 24. He's never. And I think Celtic fans like him, so hopefully we might get a bit of a fee out of them for him. But that's the only reason we've extended that contract, so we can sell him.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a show dedicated to Cameron Carter-Vickers one day.
Maybe
Please don't. Sean, I appreciate your support and watching this, but never put the words Oasis and ABBA in the same sentence again, or I will have you banned from YouTube.
Dave, would you like an Oasis musical?
I don't really like musicals, HG. I've always had a problem, like, you go into the laundry and then everyone bursts into the same song and does the same dance routine. That's not real life.
Yeah. Okay.
So no.
I think. Have you heard the Kulusevski song though, Dave?
Yeah, Shannon was playing it.
Yeah, gimme, gimme, gimme. A ginger from Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mbappe boy asked, do we think Conte will walk? I think Caller has answered. I think Caller's probably right there. I think he'll stay for the summer, see how the window goes. And if the window doesn't go well and we start off badly, he might just say, I'm off.
But what's the definition of the window going well then?
Improving the squad to a level that we can compete, I guess.
If we've got a 1% chance, he's in.
That's true. There is that. He loves a 1% chance.
Yeah. So the reality is that we buy players early in the window, so he trains with them in pre-season and coaches them. Old-fashioned, I know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we've got Nations League this summer. We haven't got a tournament this summer. But there is Nations League in June, so some of the players won't be coming back till later in July. But they should have a better pre-season this year than any other year, I think.
Yeah, because it should be a World Cup summer, and it's not.
Yeah.
So, this is because they'll get a pre-season this summer, and they'll get a pre-season next summer.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's. Yeah, I mean, the Nations League games are only a week or so after the European Cup final, Champions League final, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So,
they're in June, but they're playing 3 or 4 games, aren't they? Paul Muir, obviously a regular contributor to the Cheeseroom pod and a channel member. Conte, 20 years of inconsistency. To change the situation that is happening for many, many years, it's not simple. In a short time, it's impossible to do this. Not only for me, but for any manager. I think we all know that's valid, don't we?
Why has he picked out 20 years, though?
Well, he's just come up with a number, hasn't he?
No,
so
he hasn't. This is the thing. In Dave's eyes, it's not. It's a particular number for a specific reason.
He could have gone 15 years, 27 years.
Do you think Conte knows that Enoch had been charged 20 years?
I don't know.
There we go.
No,
Move along.
I don't think so. But it was an interesting choice of year, which some people will pick up on.
And I did.
Okay, I think he means how big a deal is it if we don't get Champions League? Is Conte a big enough draw for top players? Fair question.
Very good question. If we don't get Champions League, we won't get Kessié, we probably won't, and we won't get Dybala.
I don't think we get Dybala anyway.
Well, if you're anyone, and if you've got a free transfer and you can go anywhere, right? There are going to be teams that will pay the wages we will pay and will have tournaments that we don't, and better weather maybe. So, I saw Kessié's been linked with Barcelona. Yeah. The Ajax right back's been linked with Barcelona. The idea that we're going to find these free transfers. Yeah, I don't know. Dybala might come because it's Conte, but if there's a club that wants him, a bigger club, then he will almost certainly go there. If Chelsea came in for him, he'd go to Chelsea. Absolutely. And why wouldn't Chelsea do that? They're going to get rid of Werner. Lukaku's not particularly loved, so Chelsea will be in for strikers. So Dybala could easily go there. Sorry for depressing everyone.
This is a good point, but I mean pre-contracts. I haven't heard any pre-contracts anywhere. No. Normally there's 1 or 2 decent ones, aren't there, that have gone out by now. I imagine there's some already signed, just not publicised. But are there any?
No, I think most. I mean, if you were a player, you'd wait until the end of the season before deciding where you want to go, because you want to know what you're going to get. Right? If you've got choices, like if you like if it was us, right, and we were desperate to go to Spurs, then fine. Like pre-contract for Spurs, I'm in because I want to go there. But I don't know how many players will be like, yeah, Spurs is my one and only choice. So I think that's probably why players are just waiting to see how the season pans out, and will then pick whenever in the summer, because they can wait whenever they want.
Yeah. I mean, the only risk to it is if they get injured, that's their career over. But I guess nowadays they've earned so much money that they're in a financial position that it's less of a risk than 10, 15 years ago, or in Jerry Maguire, where show me the money was the key because his contract was running out.
No, that's a fair point. Like it'd be a very, very unfortunate injury where their career would be over.
Yeah.
So
we seem to talk about every show, don't we? Bale,
tick. Poch coming back, tick. Who's putting on Eriksen next? Tick.
Don't you want winners? I thought Spurs wanted winners. Does Bale count as one?
I think we're going to
go on.
I was going to say, like you said in the previous show, HG, depends really on how Wales do in the qualification for the World Cup, doesn't it? If they qualify, he'll keep playing. If not, he might retire. He doesn't need to play. He wants to play golf.
Yeah. Haven't Tottenham just bought a golf course? So maybe
they've bought that to develop a training ground for the women's team.
Okay, so he won't come now because the flags are gone, so he can't play.
I think they're going to keep the golf course, but they're going to put the training ground there. So there's a specific place for the women's team.
What about if it was crazy golf? Would he come?
I think he's more a pitch and putt man.
Is he?
Barry Island, yeah.
The giant windmill going round.
He doesn't like the windmills. He's scared.
No. He got injured on the windmill. It was out.
Messes with his hair, like.
Do you think he'd ask him to build him a crazy golf course with the old heart?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Wow, the Gareth Bale crazy golf course. That'd be interesting.
I think Kerry's being a bit cheeky now, there, Dave.
Why don't we get Jose Dominguez back?
Because he was
He's
rubbish.
Probably about 45 now.
Yeah, well, I'd still take Eriksen.
Wait, hang on. Are you going to say that Bale and Eriksen and these players were rubbish, Dave? You don't mean that?
No. Of course not. And they're at their peak, which was in Bale at his peak was at Madrid, but at their peak, brilliant players for us. But Eriksen, the last 6 to 12 months, his form tailed off. He didn't perform in the Champions League final. What's up?
No, so the last 6 to 12 months, he hasn't played, but then he went for Spurs.
Okay,
but I was a bit worried. That was all.
Yeah, no, don't worry. And his form tailed off, and that was it, right? And so it's good to see him back. Absolutely, obviously what happened to him is horrendous, and he's back. He's fit, safe, and well, and hopefully does a job for Brentford. But I don't want him coming back to Tottenham. We've got to move on. We've got to stop talking about bringing Bale back. But we say that, but let's get them all back then. Foyth has won a trophy.
I'm just winding you up, Dave.
No, I know, but it's just like Potts comes, but it's never the same when they come back. Never.
Yeah, it sounds weird that we sat here in the first half hour of the show talking about we want winners, we want people who've done stuff, and here we are going Poch, Eriksen, who weren't with Spurs. I mean, Eriksen won something with 20, but still, it's a bit weird. So I don't know.
I'd like winners who were winners somewhere else and never been winners at us. That would be good.
Okay. Hopefully there will be winners with us. If I just bring up this one by Mbappe boy, good to see Christian Eriksen back in the Premier League. Baller. Yes. My worry is he will score a free kick against us when we go and play Brentford, no doubt, or he'll do something. Yeah. And we'll lose 3-1 or something. Well, it'll be one of those games where we switch off, won't it? And save them from relegation. Or they'll probably still get relegated and we'll just be the one win they have. Right. I haven't seen any new comments as such. So if HG can get the closing credits ready, I think we might wrap up there. We've been going an hour and 54 minutes almost. So, Dave, thank you for seeing your hangover through with us from down under.
Yeah, no, thanks very much for letting me sweat my hangover a bit more out with you and on the screen and all around the world. Lovely to be back. Am I an ambulance chaser or am I a bandwagon jumper? Who knows?
I'm just going to say, and it's a good night from this man who didn't make it. Still in his bed in Las Vegas somewhere. Hopefully we'll have some pictures to show you on Monday. HG, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Happy weekend to everyone. Enjoy the football before Spurs play. See, there's lots to watch. But and whoever's playing Arsenal, I want them to do well. I don't know who they've got. Don't really care.
Oh.
But
There you go. Caller had to get his little dig in there, Dave.
Do you want to get Adrian up there just for balance?
Oh, where's Adrian? I can't even see him.
There's Adrian.
the quote, I don't know.
There we go.
You got it. Oh, there you go.
I'll do my very best, Adrian. I'll come round to your house and we'll work on some material. All right. Maybe we'll do some mime.
He randomly calls me just like in the day. He's like, "Oh, can I call you now?" So we have a WhatsApp call at random times during the day where we try and work on the run sheet. But
Adrian or me?
that's our life. You and me.
Okay.
It's like, leave me alone, Dave.
I'm not stalking you like Caller stalks Ledley King. Anyway, I think it's good night, isn't it?
Anyway, HG, thanks very much.
No problem.
And
to all of you people out there who call us the ploppers.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, forgot. Just need to do football prizes again. If you missed it, we've got the old Harry Kane signed custom frame shirt, £4.95, 99 tickets available, and you can get a 10% discount using the code POD10, POD10. It's footballprizes.co.uk. Have a look, great site, loads of stuff, loads of prizes on there. And from that, it's me saying very good night and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.